Good morning, guys. In the last session, we developed our first application by using Spring Web MVC. In order to develop our first application, we used below dependencies like Web Starter, Tomcat Embed Jasper, DevTools. Web Starter dependency we are using to develop a web application by using Spring. This Web Starter will provide the support to develop MVC based applications as well as RESTful applications also we can develop by using Web Starter, and it is providing Tomcat as the default embedded container. That means you no need to set up the server to run your web application in the Spring Boot. That will be taken care by embedded servers. And the Tomcat embed Jasper dependency we have taken, it is used to compile our JSP files. And the next DevTools, when you make some changes to the code, server will be restarted automatically when you have DevTools. Then we created a controller class with required method. So to represent Java class as a controller, we are using @controller annotation. We created presentation file with our logic. JSP I am using as a presentation file. Controllers don't know what is our presentation technology. So that's why we are going to write view resolver. In the view resolver, we are going to configure what is the prefix and suffix. Prefix represents where the files are available. Suffix represents what is the extension of the file. Then we have started our application. Good. Now, today I want to build one more application so that you will get more clarity. In today's application, I'm going to use one controller with multiple methods as well as multiple controllers I'm going to create. Observe carefully. File, new, Spring Starter project. So this is our second application using Web MVC. Here, when I'm creating this application, I'm giving the name as 23 Web MVC app 2. Then type of the project is Maven. Packaging type is WAR file. Packaging type is WAR file. Java version 8. Language is Java. Next, here we are selecting dependencies. DevTools, web dependency. Two dependencies I'm selecting. You see, when I select a web dependency, it is giving a tooltip. It is giving some message for us. Build web, including RESTful applications using Spring MVC, uses Apache Tomcat as the default embedded container. So when we take the web starter, when you use that Spring Web Starter, you can build web applications, you can build RESTful applications using Spring MVC. And it will use Apache Tomcat as the default embedded container. You no need to run your application in a separate server. Server is inbuilt. Then if you go to DevTools, provides fast application restarts, live reload, continuous for configurations for enhanced development experience. So it is going to do live reloading of the server. So whenever you make some changes in the code, immediately it is going to reload that. Good. Next and finish. Here we are going to use JSP as a presentation technology. By default, Web Starter will not support for JSP. We need to add Tomcat embed Jasper dependency. So before that, see here, I created a project by selecting Web Starter. So Starter Web dependency we have, and DevTools dependency we got, Starter Tomcat we got, Starter Test. Actually, I have selected only two, Web Starter, DevTools. When you select Web Starter, by default it is giving Tomcat Starter and test dependency for unit testing. So as I want to use JSP as a presentation technology, I need to add Tomcat embed Jasper dependency. Where we can find that? We can find that in MVN repository, mvnrepository.com. So let's type Tomcat embed Jasper. Let's type Tomcat embed Jasper. Okay. Copy this. Version number we no need to write. Spring Boot will take care of that version. Yes, I have added Tomcat embed Jasper dependency. All right. Next, let us create controller. So in order to represent our Java class as a controller, we are going to use @controller annotation. We are going to use @controller annotation. Now I am creating a class with a name called first controller, keeping inside in controller package. Now within this controller, we can write multiple methods to handle the request. For every request, one method will be available inside the controller. So we are going to handle the user requests by using our controller classes. So to represent the Java class as a controller, I'm writing @controller annotation. Within this controller, we can write methods public, model and view, public, model and view, get, welcome, message. Model and view, get, welcome, message. So here I'm writing model and view, MAV is equal to new model and view. One object I'm creating, and I'm going to return that model and view object. Here, model and view objects represents data as well as logical file name. What data you want to send to the presentation, that you can set in the form of key value pair. How we will do that? Model and view dot add object of key comma value. Key is message. So I'm going to say that welcome to Spring Boot. Welcome to Spring Boot. Where you want to display this message, that view name we have to set. Where we want to display this message, right? I'm giving the view name as a welcome. I want to display the view name as a welcome. Okay. This method should be binded to one get request. So user will send a get request in order to get that message. Here /welcome is my URL pattern and the message is a key and this is my value and this is view file name. View file name and method URL pattern no need to be same. So they can be different also. Here I'm giving URL pattern as a /welcome, view name as welcome. So that means whenever HTTP GET request comes to this method with /welcome as a URL pattern, whenever client send a GET request to this application with /welcome as a URL pattern, then this method will be called. Who is going to identify this method is responsible to handle that request? Handler mapper will be available. Handler mapper is going to identify that this method is responsible to handle that request. So here I'm setting the data in the form of key value and I'm setting the view name also. Now let us create view file. Here views we are going to create inside our web app. Right click, new folder. In this folder, you can write a pages folder or you can create views folder, anything. In that new JSP file, I'm going to give the JSP name as welcome because that is what it is returning from our controller. So in this welcome page, I'm going to access my key by using expression language. I created one JSP page. In that JSP page, I'm accessing this key. Controller is getting executed. Controller sending the data using model and view object. This is the view name. This is model data. This key you can access in this view file. I'm going to welcome.jsp. In the welcome.jsp, I'm accessing that key. Fine. Once it is done, now let us go to view resolver configuration. Spring.mvc.view.prefix. What is the prefix I have given today? Pages. That folder, yesterday I have given the folder name as views. Today I have given the folder name as pages. You can give like this. Spring.mvc.prefix is equal to pages. Then spring.mvc.view.suffix is equal to .jsp. I have given the suffix as .jsp. prefix as pages. Okay, so with this our application is ready. So see here, created a project with web starter, dev tools, and a Tomcat embed Jasper. Then I created one controller class. In this controller class, I have taken one method. That method I bind it to HTTP GET request by using GET mapping URL pattern / welcome. That controller method is executing some logic and it is returning model and view object. Model contains the data in the form of key and value. This view is having logical file name. Then in the web app directory, I have created pages directory, subdirectory pages. Inside the pages, I created welcome.jsp. I kept that expression language to access that value based on the key name. Then I have configured my view resolver spring.mvc.view.prefix is equal to /pages, spring.mvc.view.suffix is equal to .jsp. This view resolver is used to identify where the view files available in our project. Okay, let's try to run this application. Run as boot app. I'm just running my application. Automatically, it is getting deployed into Tomcat container. Tomcat is the default container we are getting for our Spring Boot application. You no need to deploy this application to the servers manually. It is getting deployed into Tomcat server by default. Tomcat server running on port number 8080. Let's go to the browser, directly access it, localhost colon 8080/welcome. Welcome to Spring Boot we are getting. Guys, if you observe, localhost colon 8080 is the context path. Okay, so this is the location. Localhost nothing but the server where the server is running. Server is running in my local machine with a default port number called 8080. After that, directly I'm specifying my URL pattern /welcome. But where is the project name? By default, for Spring Boot applications, context path will be empty. You should not specify project name in the URL pattern. You need to specify host address where the server is running, and you need to specify on what port number that server is running and your URL pattern. If you give URL pattern incorrect, then you are going to get 404 because handler mapper not able to identify this request should be binded to which controller method. So I'm giving correct URL pattern. But if you observe, project name is not available in the URL. The reason, you see, Tomcat server started on 8080 with the context path as empty. By default, context path will be empty for Spring Boot application. I don't want to keep it as empty. I want to give some name for my project. So here you can specify context path. You can configure server.servlet.context path is equal to /web app like this. You can specify a context path. Context path nothing but project name that we want to use in the URL. You can use anything as a context path. It is up to you. Right click, run as boot application. I'm trying to execute my project now. Now check it. What is the context path it is considered? Can you see? It is considering the context path as a web app. Tomcat server started on the port number 8080 with the context path as a web app. Now, if you want to access our application, now we need to specify context path /welcome. Now we are getting web app I am using as a project name. If I remove this web app, if I access, I'm getting 404. So by default, for Spring Boot applications, context path will be empty. So no need to specify the project name in the URL. If you want to configure project name also in the URL, then we need to set that context path manually. Are you guys able to understand what is the context path property? Are you guys able to understand what is context path property? Come on, guys. Are you clear with this? What is context path? Context path is the name of the application with which we are going to access that. Context path represents name of our application. Right? What is the context path? Context path represents name of our application. Context path represents name of our application. In Spring Boot, the default context path is empty. In Spring Boot, the default context path is empty. The default context path is empty. So we can set our own context path using application.properties file. In Spring Boot, we can set our own context path using below property in application.properties file. In Spring Boot, we can set our own context path using below property in application.properties file. When we set the context path, then we have to access our application by giving the context path name in the URL. When we set the context path, we have to access our application using context path in URL. Are you guys clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? Yeah. Basically, if you go for normal Tomcat servers, so whenever you learn servlets, so you will take a Tomcat server. External Tomcat servers we are going to take. In this external Tomcat server, we are going to deploy multiple applications, YAP1, YAP2, YAP3. So to resolve the URL patterns collision in the Tomcat server, by default, application name will be considered as a context path. So when you go for normal Tomcat servers, you can deploy multiple applications within the same server. You can deploy multiple applications in the same server. To resolve the naming collision, we will use by default Tomcat. In external Tomcat means we are going to set up that. In external Tomcat, we can deploy multiple applications. In external Tomcat, we can deploy multiple applications. To resolve URL patterns collision, every app will have context path. To resolve URL patterns collision, every application will have context path. Application name will be considered as context path. War file name will be considered as context path, right? So this is the scenario when you go for normal Tomcat. So whenever you learn servlets API, you are going to install the Tomcat server and you are going to deploy your application into the Tomcat server. Can we deploy more than one application to external Tomcat? Can I deploy more than one application to external Tomcat server? Can I deploy more than one servlet application to the Tomcat server? Yes, we can deploy as a war file, right? So if you develop three servlet applications you can deploy in the single Tomcat. That is external Tomcat. We are going to download that Tomcat and we are going to set up that Tomcat. But here, when the multiple applications are running in the single server, how server will understand which request is coming to which application? Three applications are running in the Tomcat application 1, application 2, application 3. 3 applications are running in the same server. So user is sending a request to the server. That request comes for application 1 or application 2 or application 3. That will be differentiated by using context path. So this is when you go for external Tomcat. But when it comes to the Spring Boot, every application is having its own embedded server. Every application is having its own embedded server. There is no chance of collision because app 1 is available. For app 1, there is a inbuilt server. App 1 is going to run having inbuilt container, inbuilt server. That is only for app 1. Now, when we go for app 2 is also having its own inbuilt server to run the application. If you go for app 3 also having its own server. So every application will be running in its own server. We can't run 2 applications in the single server when we go for this embedded container concept. Here, inbuilt server is available for application 2. Inbuilt server available for application 2. When you go for application 3, here also inbuilt server is available. In Spring Boot, we are having embedded server. In Spring Boot, we have embedded server. Every application will have its own server. Every application will have its own server. There is no chance for URL collision. There is no chance for URL pattern collision. URL pattern collision. That's why default context path is empty. If we want, we can set it. If required, we can set context path. Now you understand why they have provided default context path is empty. Now do you understand why they have provided default context path empty? Is it really required? Is it really required, the context path for Spring Boot applications? Not required. Why it is not required? Why it is not required? Spring Boot applications are deploying into external servers, or Spring Boot applications are deploying in embedded servers. Spring Boot applications are deploying in the embedded server. That means whenever you use web starter, it is giving one server by default. Within that server, only that application will execute. Every application will come up with its own server. So context path project name is not required because only one server is available. Got my point, guys? So here we can run our web applications in 2 ways. You can go for external server. In the external server, we can deploy more than one application. When we deploy more than one application in the external server, here there is a chance of URL collision. So user send a GET request. That GET request should be given to application 1 or application 2 or application 3. That will be differentiated by using context path, project name. So as multiple applications can be deployed in the single server, context path is a mandatory. They will consider war file name as a context path when you go for external Tomcat server. But when we are going for Spring Boot, we are not using any external Tomcat servers. We are just developing our project and we are running our project. When we run our project, for every project embedded servers will come. For every project embedded server will come. That embedded server is specific to only one application. If you run three Spring Boot applications, for 3 applications, 3 servers will start. The server is inbuilt. In the inbuilt server, only one application will execute. There is no chance of collision. There is no chance of collision. That is the reason the default context path for the Spring Boot is empty. If you want, you can set the context path using this property, server.servlet.context path is equal to web app. Now, if you set the context path as a web app, when you are accessing that application, you need to specify the context path name, then only you can access that. then only you can access that. Okay guys, so this is how we are going to deal with context path in Spring Boot applications. Are you guys clear? Are you guys clear with my point? The importance of the context path in the external server and why that context path is optional in the inbuilt servers, embedded servers, right? So when we go for external server, we can deploy more than one application. When we go for Spring Boot, embedded servers will be available. Only one application will execute. That's why context path is empty. If you want, you can set it. What is the property to set the context path in the Spring Boot? What is the property to set the context path in the Spring Boot? Can you tell me the property name? Server.servlet.context path. Server.servlet.context path is equal to web app. Are you guys clear with my point? Server.servlet.context path is equal to web app. It is used to set context path for our application. Very good. Now here, guys, by default, embedded Tomcat server running on the port number 8080. By default embedded server will run on the port number 8080. That is by default. Default embedded Tomcat server, normal Tomcat or embedded Tomcat? Embedded Tomcat server will run on the port number 8080. Will run on the port number 8080. This is default behavior. When we go for Spring Boot web applications, when you run that application, embedded Tomcat server will come by default. That embedded Tomcat server is going to run on the port number 8080. This is default behavior. We can change embedded Tomcat port number. We can change embedded server port number using below property in application.properties file. Server.port is equal to 9090. The default port number is 8080. If you want, you can customize that port number. Where to customize that port number? We can customize that port number in the properties file. How to customize that? Server.port is equal to 9090. The default port is 8080. If you don't set it, by default it will take 8080. I don't want to go with 8080 because sometimes some people will install Oracle database in the laptops. Oracle database will use 8080 port. Tomcat also will use 8080 port. You cannot run two applications with the same port number. Okay, if you want to run two applications on the same port number, it is not possible. That's why I'm going to change embedded server port number. So for that, I'm using server.port is equal to 9090. Let's refresh our application, update Maven project, force update, run this, run as boot application, run as boot application. Now see the console. Tomcat started on which port number now? 9090. I customized that. The default port number will be 8080. I change it to 9090. And the context path of the Spring Boot application will be empty, but I change it to /web app. Now in order to access this application, the URL pattern should be localhost : 9090/context path /welcome. Now, are we able to get this? Are we able to access this now? Welcome to Spring Boot. Are we able to access this message? Localhost : 9090/web app /welcome. If you see here, localhost 9090/webapp/welcome. Here we need to understand how this URL got prepared. How this URL got prepared. In this URL, we need to consider this is server address, localhost, nothing but my server is running in the same machine, localhost server. This is server port number. This is application context path. So this is application context path, and this is controller method URL pattern. Okay, so here if you see 1, 2, 3, there are 4 parts available in this URL. Localhost represents the location of the server IP. Localhost represents server IP running in the same machine. So server is running in the same machine. That's why we are giving it as a localhost. Next one, 9090 represents server port number. Third one, web app represents context path. /welcome represents method URL pattern. So you need to understand how we are preparing our request to access this web application. Okay, localhost nothing but server IP. Localhost represents server IP, server running in same machine. Server running in same machine. Tomorrow server may run in the different machine, then we need to give that IP address. 9090 represents server port number. /web app represents project application context path. /welcome represents method URL pattern. So this is what we prepared. This is the URL pattern of our application. So when we are accessing that web application, we need to follow this URL pattern. When we are accessing our web application, we need to follow this URL pattern. So today server is running in the same machine. That's why we are using as a local host. Tomorrow I'm going to show, in future I will show the Spring Boot application deployment in the AWS cloud. So when I deploy Spring Boot application in the AWS cloud, server will be running in the AWS. Then that server IP address we will give instead of localhost. Port number, you can use any port number. Default port number is 8080 for embedded server, but here we are having 9090. Okay, then go for web app. Web app is the context path. In the Spring Boot, the default context path is empty because every application will have its own server, so there is no URL collision. That's why they made the context path as empty. You cannot run 2 applications in the single embedded container. For every application, 1 embedded container will be available. If you want context path, you can set that. It is not mandatory, it is optional. And at the last I'm giving /welcome. That is my method URL pattern. Are you guys able to understand context path details and the URL pattern, URL creation to access the application? Are you getting this guy? Are you getting this concept, guys? Very good. Now, in this application currently, I am having one controller method. Okay. So if I go for first controller class, there is one method available, which is binded to get request. Now, I can create one more controller method to handle another request. If a request comes with the /welcome, then it will go to this method. Now, I will write one more method in the same controller. One controller, it is a multi-action controller by default, guys. So in the servlets, for every request, one servlet should be available. One servlet will be handling only one request. But here I'm going for multi-action controller. That means within one controller, we can write multiple methods to handle multiple requests. Public, modal and view, get, greet message, something like this. get greet message. Now I'm going to take model and view object, new model and view object, return model and view. In this model, I want to set the data. Model and view dot add object key comma value. So what is that key comma value? Key is going to be message, value I'm going to write it as good morning. Value I'm writing as good morning. Model and view dot add object of message comma good morning. And I want to set the view name. Which view file should be displayed? Set to view name. I can use a view with a name called greet. Another view file I'm creating for this method. This method I am binding to get request, get mapping slash greet, any URL pattern. Any URL pattern I can use it. Okay, so here how many methods are available in our controller? Two methods are available in our controller. Both methods are binded to get request only. So I have a first controller. In the first controller, I have get welcome message method. It is binded to slash welcome. And I have get greet message. It is also binded to slash greet. Two methods are there. Let me create greet.jsp, new JSP file, greet.jsp, greet.jsp, click on next, finish. Here also, I will just access that key using expression language. So one controller, two methods are available. Two methods are returning two different view file names. So to process our requests, right? Now let's run this application, run as boot application. Run as boot application. Run as boot application. Yeah. Now slash welcome. If I give slash welcome, I'm getting welcome to Spring Boot. If I give slash greet, I'm getting good morning. So are we able to access both methods of our controller based on the URL pattern? The response is changing. Guys, the response is changing or not? The response is changing. Now, if I give slash welcome, it is going to first method slash welcome URL pattern. It is giving welcome to Spring Boot. When I send the request to greet, I'm getting the message as a good morning. So how my application is understanding, I'm sending a request. How my application is understanding, I'm sending a request to first method or second method. How my Spring Boot application will understand my request is coming for, I'm sending a request for first method or second method. Who is going to identify that? Who is going to identify that in this diagram? Can you look at this diagram and tell me who is identifying that my request is coming to first method or my request is coming to the second method? Handler mapper. When I make a request, that request is going to dispatcher servlet in the web MVC. What is this dispatcher servlet? Dispatcher servlet is a predefined servlet which is going to act as a front controller in the web MVC. Every request we send, it will go to dispatcher servlet. Dispatcher servlet giving the request information to handler mapper slash welcome. Handler mapper is going to check in this project which controller method is binded to slash welcome. Which controller method is binded to slash welcome? Yes, there is a controller method. Then handler mapper will give the controller data to the dispatcher. Dispatcher will call that controller method. Controller returning model and view. Model contains the data in the form of key value. View represents the logical file name. So when the controller is giving model and view, model contains the data, view contains logical file name. Controller also don't know what is that view file, where is that view file. Is it JSP view or is it timely view? Controller also don't know that. Controller will just give the model data and view file name. Then with that view name, dispatcher servlet will go to view resolver. View name will be given to view resolver. Then view resolver will identify that based on the suffix and prefix we have configured, where the view files are available. It is going to identify physical location of the view, it will give it to the dispatcher servlet. Then dispatcher servlet will give the model data and view location to the view component. It will render that model data on the view file will be given to the dispatcher. Then dispatcher will send that view as a response to our request. So these many things are happening internally when you just click on this URL. When you just click on this URL. For example, if I give URL pattern as a /hi, why we are getting 404 with a /hi? Is there any method available which is binded to /hi URL pattern? Is there any method available in the is there any method available with the /hi URL pattern? That's why we are getting 404. So here, whenever we send a request, that request is going to have dispatcher servlet with a /hi. Dispatcher servlet interacted with the handler mapper. Hey handler mapper, I got /hi. Can you check it? Which method I should execute for /hi? Handler mapper scanned the project. Handler mapper not able to find out /hi URL pattern. Hey dispatcher, there is no method available which is belongs to /hi. Then dispatcher will send error response to the client saying that 404 invalid request, bad request, invalid URL pattern. You are trying to access the application by using /hi. With this /hi URL, there is no method. There is no method. That is the reason we are getting 404. In this entire diagram, are we creating dispatcher servlet? Are we creating handler mapper? Are they by default available? Do we need to create them or they are inbuilt in the framework? They are inbuilt in the framework. So that is the advantage of the boot auto configuration. To run our web applications, front controller is required, handler mapper is required. Those components are provided by SpringBoot. Inbuilt, they are going to execute. You cannot see with your eyes. Okay, those are inbuilt concepts which are executing in the WebMVC. Are you guys clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? Now, sir, I have two methods in the same class. Can I write multiple methods in the same controller class? Can we write multiple methods in the same controller class? Yes or no? Okay. Now here welcome to Spring Boot is available. Now I want to make a request to this /welcome. Yes, I got welcome to Spring Boot. Now I want to change this message Spring Boot and microservices. Save it. When I save it, can you see that server is restarting? My change is reflecting. My change is reflecting or not? How come this change is reflected? Am I restarting my server or it is getting reloading? It is reloading my changes. It is reloading my changes. How come it is reloading the changes? How come the server is restarting? DevTools dependency we have added. So the DevTools dependency is used to reload the changes only. DevTools is used to restart the server when changes happened in the project. So you no need to tell that, it is a default behavior. When you make some changes, it is going to restart that. It is going to restart that. Are you guys clear with my point? Yeah. Now, similarly, can we create one more controller? Can we create one more controller in our project? Can I have multiple controllers? Yes, I'm creating one more controller called second controller. Let me stop it. Second controller. Now I'm representing this class as a controller by using @controller annotation. Okay, here I'm writing one method public model and view get wish message. Public model and view get wish message. So here I'm using model and view. MAV is equal to new model and view return MAV. Here also setting the data MAV dot add object key comma value. Key is message. I'm going to say that all the best, some message. MAV dot set view name. I can set it as wish. View name can be anything, file name. How to bind this method now? Slash get mapping. Do I really need to give the URL pattern here? Can I leave it empty? Can I leave it empty? Get mapping slash, can I leave it empty? We can leave it. We can leave it. In this entire project, so there is only one method which is binded to slash. Slash means you no need to give anything in the URL. It is like your welcome page. It is like your welcome page. It is like a welcome page. Understanding my point? Slash, I'm giving just a slash, wish. Let's create a page called wish page. New other JSP file. I'm creating with a name called wish.jsp. Go to next, finish. Here also, let me access it. Expression language. I have saved it. Right now, let's run our application. Run as boot app. Run as boot app. Application started. Now, if I am sending a request with a welcome, then I will get welcome to Spring Boot. If I send a request with a greet, I'm getting good morning. If I don't send anything, I'm getting all the best. So URL pattern is empty. So can I give empty URL pattern also in the project, like a welcome page URL pattern? Can I give you a welcome URL pattern like this? Yeah, we can give welcome URL pattern also like this. Okay, instead of this, I will make it as a wish. Instead of this, I will make it as a wish. Now, so if I give slash wish, then I'm going to get all the best. Okay, slash welcome, slash greet, slash wish, all three I'm getting. Now I will create one more controller, which is my index controller class. I'm going to create index controller. In this controller, I'm going to write one method at the rate controller. I will represent this. In this controller, I will write a method public model and view index return index. I don't want to set any data, just I want to return a view file. I just want to return one view file. MAV dot set to view name. MAV dot set to view name. I'm going to set this view name as a index. No data I'm sending. I don't want to send any data. I just want to send index file. It is like a welcome page. It is like a welcome page. Now I will write get mapping slash, that's it. I will not give anything. I will just give slash. What is this method view file name? Index. I'm creating one class called index controller. Index page will be the default page of our application. This index method I am binding to just a slash. That means no URL, just a slash is available. I'm creating model and view object, and I'm setting the view name as index, and I'm returning model and view object. Now let me create one index page. Let me create one index.jsp file, index.jsp. In this index.jsp, I'm going to write h1 welcome to AhokIT. Here I'm going to write a href is equal to welcome, get welcome message, Here I'm going to write get wish message, get greet message. get greet message, get wish message. Now, when you click on the greet, it should go to greet URL. When you click on wish, it should go to wish URL. I'm writing 3 hyperlinks. I am binding my methods to these hyperlinks. See here, if you go to AhokIT website, there is a menu. When you click on training schedule online training, when you click on online training page is coming. When you click on classroom training page is coming. If you go for interview questions, that page is coming. If you click on placements are coming. If you click on about us, it is coming. That means there is a link, there is a linking. Similarly, I am doing that linking for my hyperlinks. If you click on this hyperlink, get welcome message, welcome URL pattern should execute, right? If you click on this greet message hyperlink, request should go to greet URL pattern. If you click on get wish message, the request should go to wish URL pattern. Okay, fine. Now in these welcome pages and greet pages, what I will do is I will simply write go back, go to home. A href is equal to empty. I will say go back or go home. Go to home page, go home. Just I'm writing the navigation, guys. I'm just writing the navigation from one page to another page. Okay, let's done. We are done. Let's start our application. Refresh, run as boot application. Now, so there are multiple controllers available, multiple methods are available. Application running on the port number 9090 and it is having web app as a context path. Let's go to /web app. Don't give any URL pattern. What it is displaying, index page is coming by default. Get welcome message is coming. Get greet message is coming. Get wish message is coming. I want to display them in the next lines. So let me give some break tag. Let me give some break tag. Okay, refresh. All right. Are we able to get a project? Welcome to AhokIT. Am I giving any URL pattern or just I'm using context path? I'm just using context path. How come? I created one index controller. In the index controller, I have a method. Method is binded to get request with /. No need to give any URL pattern. It is a default. When you are going for Facebook or when you are going for Gmail, are you typing gmail.com/login or you are just typing gmail.com? Are you typing gmail.com/login or you are just typing gmail.com? Come on, guys. If you want to log into Gmail or Facebook, in the URL, you are just typing facebook.com or you are typing facebook.com/login/register/dashboard, just gmail.com. So for every project, one welcome page will be available. Welcome page will be binded to /URL. So that means URL pattern is empty, nothing. If you just type localhost :9090/web app, then my index page is displaying. In the index page, get welcome message available, get greet message available, get wish message is available. If you click on get welcome message, it is displaying welcome to Spring Boot and microservices /welcome URL pattern it is accessing. If you click on go home, nothing is happening. It is not going to home page. So when it is not going to home page, we need to give /. / is the URL pattern to go for home page. Okay, in all these pages I'm giving /. All right, now go to home page, refresh it, go to home, localhost :9090. It is going without context path. Okay, so let me give /web app our context path. In the wish page also it is done. In the index page, just I have hyperlinks. /web app, go to welcome message, go back, I'm coming back, get greet message, good morning, go home, get wish message, all the best, go home. So is my navigation is working now? Is my navigation is working? Come on guys. So simple. So developing this web application is very simple. First I created one index controller. In the index controller, what I have done, I created one method. That method is binded to get request. I'm not giving any URL pattern because when the project is accessed in the browser, I want to execute this method by default. I want to execute this method by default. So that's why I created one index controller. In the index controller, I have written one method which is binded to get request. Get request URL pattern I have given as empty, so that when you access the application, by default, my index page should be displayed. By default, my index page should be displayed. I'm not sending any data. I'm just setting the view name as a index. Then what is there in the index JSP? I have written 3 hyperlinks: get welcome message, get greet message, get a wish message. Like this, 3 hyperlinks I am displaying. 3 hyperlinks I'm displaying. You can keep them as a buttons also. I'm giving them as a hyperlink. Every hyperlink is binded to one URL. Get welcome message. It is binded to welcome URL pattern. Get greet message binded to greet URL pattern. Get wish message binded to wish URL pattern. So when you click on this hyperlink, request will go to /welcome. Then welcome controller method is executing. Welcome method executed. Welcome method displayed welcome JSP with the content. When you click on go back, I'm going to the index page default URL. When I click on get greet message, it is going to greet page. Greet method is executing. Greet message is displaying. Go back. When I click on get wish message, all the best is displaying. When I click on go back, it is going back. Going to home page, index page. Understand my point? First controller having welcome and greet. URL, every method is having different URL pattern. Every method is having a different URL pattern. Second controller having a wish method. So all the methods are binded to get request only, but URL patterns are different. We need to make sure method URL patterns are different. Okay. If you use the same URL pattern, then URL collision will occur. When you use the same URL pattern, URL collision will occur. So we need to make different URL patterns. We need to maintain unique URL patterns in the project. Understand guys how to develop this a simple web application by using Spring Web MVC? Just simple pages I have created with navigations. Understood? Can you guys do this application for today? Can you guys do this application for today? All the screenshots I'm posting in the Telegram. I hope all of you joined in the Telegram group. So this is the today's requirement. I changed the port number to 9090. I configure the context path as web app. Then I have taken 3 URL patterns. So I have taken 3 controllers. I have taken 3 controllers: welcome message, greet message, wish message, and index controller. Why I have taken index controller? What is the purpose of this index controller? To display the home page. Like this, in the real time, our projects will have multiple controllers. So today I created one controller with multiple methods, and I created a multiple controllers and a multiple view pages, customized port number. Then I have customized context path also. So are you getting the concept of Web MVC, how to develop a web application? A simple web application we developed by using Web MVC. All right. Guys, yesterday for last 2 days classes, I have sent backup videos in the Telegram. Did you guys get those Spring MVC backup videos? Last 2 classes videos I have shared. Today video also I'm going to share for your practice purpose. So please practice it before coming to tomorrow session. So today we developed a web application with dummy messages. So in tomorrow session, we are going to understand how to send one object data to the UI, how to develop the forms, how to capture the form data, what is form binding, how to send the form data to the database and store it, retrieve the data from the database and display. So we are going to do some more activities in this web applications development. Okay, guys. For new people, I have sent you an email yesterday. Did you guys receive that email? For tomorrow session, Zoom link is going to change, guys. So you need to join the class from the portal. I'm going to show you how can you access it in the portal. So once you have done your enrollment process, you will get the access for this portal. In the portal, it will display the course for you. It will display the course for you. There you will have join class button. You need to join from there. Okay. So the Telegram link is also available in the portal only. For new people, I'm telling you once again. So when you go here, my courses section, you will see Spring Boot course image like this. So when you click on that course image, join Telegram button will be available, join class will be available, class notes access also will be available for you. So today I'm going to change the link of this. I'm going to change the link of this. So I will update this in the portal. All right. Yeah. Any questions, anybody? Who is having questions? Anita, Vega, Kumar, Rasika.
Hello,
Muni.
Anita.
Yeah,
Hello,
hi
Shekhar.
Anita.
Yeah, hi. Oh, sorry. Actually, when I'm doing this example programming, so application. So when
Yeah.
I'm running second time, I'm getting the port.
Yeah, right. So whenever you run your application, first time you started with some port number. So without
Yeah.
stopping, if you try to run once again, then you will get port already in use exception, binding exception you will get.
Yes, I'm getting the same. So
Yeah.
how to resolve this in the Spring Boot here?
You need to stop your applications first. You go to your console. What are the applications are running? You need to check the console and you need to kill that process.
Okay.
You need to kill that process. In the console, it will display that process is running with that port number. When you run the application second time with the same port number, it will say that address already in use exception. You need to stop that properly, then you need to start it. So that's why use the dev tools, it will restart the same project.
I used that also. I mentioned in form.xml. Yeah, I used that also actually.
Yeah, you stop your server and start it again.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah, hi sir.
Hi sir.
Hello.
Sir, how many port numbers are available? Actually,
so many
like
ports are
80
available, sir. There is no limit. 8080, 8081, 8082, 9090, any number of ports are there.
Any number we can give.
Any number you can give. Any number you can give. 5050 also you can give.
Okay, sir. Right.
Sir, good morning, sir. So when I'm doing this example, I'm getting that JSP tags in my browser as a response. So I have checked that syntax also, it's correct. And the file is in .jsp format only, but I couldn't able to resolve this issue. I Googled it, but unfortunately I didn't find any clue for that.
You are getting JSP page as it is not rendering.
No. Only HTML is rendering that we have the top element, right? Page, content type.
Here you
language.
need to specify is EL ignored is equal to false.
Okay.
Set this tag. Set this attribute for the page directive, then that JSP tag will be rendered. Expression language.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Hello, hi, sir. Good morning.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Sir, I'm unable to add JSP pages in my SPS ID.
Yeah. The problem is you have downloaded the IDE which supports for JSE development. You need to go for JEE IDE.
Okay.
So there are IDEs are two types. One is JSE development IDE. Second one is JEE IDE. If you go for JSE, you cannot create the JSP. You need to download JEE supported IDE. Eclipse or Spring Tools, whatever it is. You need to download another IDE.
Okay, sir. Thank you, madam.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Very good morning, sir.
Sir, when I'm starting the STS and creating the new Spring Starter project, it is getting that service URL is not taking. After that, we are writing the name, no, sir, project name.
Yes.
Yeah, it is not getting.
So here service URL.
Yes, sir.
So whenever you're creating a project, internet connection is mandatory.
Yeah, it is there, sir.
Yeah. So if it is not working, then try to create the project from the Spring official website, start.spring.io. You create the project from here, download that project and import into your IDE.
Okay, sir.
Okay. And one more thing is go to your C drive where you have a .m2 repository, local repository in the C users. You will have your username .m2. You delete that repository and start your IDE. I think some Maven is corrupted in your system. Delete that .m2 folder and try that.
Actually, it is a company laptop, sir.
Maybe come in the company laptop, you can't
Hello,
access
sir.
that, when proxy setting will be available. In the personal laptop, you have to try.
Okay, sir. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello,
Good
good
morning. Rasika, sir.
Yeah, hi
Uh,
Rasika, good morning.
Sir, this is regarding the fees. Actually, I want to register for the videos also. So can I get the Spring Boot videos also here?
Yeah, if you want Spring Boot videos and everything, it is 10,000. Previous Spring Boot class videos also 20 plus videos are available on the Spring Boot. The complete course Spring Boot microservice videos fees is 10,000. If you want to attend only RESTful services, microservices, live classes, 5,000 fees. If you want them along with the videos, it is 8,000 fees. This is the WhatsApp number. Send a message to admin team. Guys, new people who want to continue from tomorrow, send the message to admin team and complete your enrollment. Otherwise, you will miss tomorrow's class. Tomorrow, new Zoom link will be updated in the portal to attend the classes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, hi, good morning.
Ajal here.
Yeah, hi, Ajal.
Ashok sir, I'm for yesterday's example, I'm getting white label error page.
Yeah,
And
maybe
it says
check your package naming convention. So whether your controller class is available in the base package naming convention or not. If you don't follow the base package naming convention, then it cannot identify your controllers.
but the error is for JSP views folder. I have kept index.jsp, but it says like index.jsp.jsp not found.
Index.js, maybe you in the controller you are returning index.jsp. In the controller you should return just view name as index or welcome. Don't give .jsp here.
Welcome controller. Okay. Yeah.
You just return the view name, file name. That's it. Don't give the .jsp in the controller.
Okay.
I think you have done that mistake. Yes.
Sir, can we write a same URL pattern in controller method with different HTTP method?
Yes, we can do. I will discuss about that, sir, when we are going for forms development. If you want to use the same URL pattern, then HTTP request method should be different. Get and post methods can have the same URL pattern.
And second thing that earlier we were using web.xml file for front end controller mapping.
Yeah, in the Spring Boot, it is not required. Handler mapper will take care of that mapping. It will identify which URL pattern binded to which controller method. Handler mapper is going to identify it process. Web.xml file not required.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Hello, very good morning, sir.
Yeah, hi, sir. Very good morning.
Sir, my question is that like whenever I'm creating the JSP page, it's showing only blank. So yesterday I copy the Telegram code, notes code and paste over this. Then after that it will execute it. But in future it will be like problematic or what, sir?
That means your IDE not supporting for that JSP plugin. You need to
I'm
download
using the
you need to download the latest
STS4.
IDE. STS4 it should support then.
Okay, and the second question is that like you deleted that M2 repository, but in previous project also I have. So maybe I will lost that project backup or like what, sir?
Yeah, whenever you
Or that
restart your IDE, again you are going to get that. Again, it is going to download all those dependencies freshly.
Okay, got
Whenever
it,
you
sir.
delete it,
And sir,
whenever you delete it, whatever the dependencies we are getting deleted, right? Whenever we restart our new project, the dependencies which got deleted, it is going to re-download them.
automatically, sir.
Automatically, yes.
Okay. And so like yesterday I am going with that view package. So like whenever I'm running that application, yesterday's application, it's showing that is port already used. And whenever I'm hitting on like Chrome, so it's showing welcome in Jenkins, like credential, login, password and all that.
Maybe in the Jenkins also you are running in the same machine.
Okay. So like what I can like resolve that?
Stop,
Like,
stop
how
the
can resolve
Jenkins
that?
or stop the Jenkins or change the port number. Stop the Jenkins server
like
or
using
change
this
change the port number in the
server.port.
properties file. Yes.
Yeah, got it, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, and guys, someone is saying that he is not able to get the web app folder. Why you will not get the web app? The reason is when you are creating the project, you need to select the packaging type as a var. Then only you will get the web app folder. At the time of creating the project, I'm selecting var file. That's why I'm getting web app. If you don't get it, you need to create that web app folder manually and you need to create the pages. So tomorrow I'm going to talk about most common problems people are going to face while developing the web application. In the tomorrow session, I will discuss. Then we will start the next topic. Thank you guys. So all of you please join the classes from the portal only so that you will not miss the session. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.